Welcome back to Gear for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 762, we're going to talk about Farideh, the Devil's Chosen. We get a Tiefling Warlock. So 2 blue and a red for a 3-3. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, Farideh gains Flying and Menace till end of turn. If any of the results was 10 or higher, you get to draw a card. Now, there are quite a few die rolling cards in the Adventures of the Forgotten Realm and the Commander set that goes with it. So, in blue and red, that's where I started. I want to dependably roll dice. Now, some of these cards do have. Well, here, we'll just go through it. So, we're looking for results 10 or higher, so obviously we want to roll a 10-sider or better, preferably a 20. These are in no particular order. Earth Cult Elemental. Here we're rolling a d20, and I do like that these die rolling cards, you get, even if you just abysmal, you get something out of it, well, most of the time. But the better you roll, the better the effect. Wizard Spellbook, we're rolling a 20. Arcane Endeavor. Now these are two. The anything less than a 10, like the D4, D6, D8, I almost didn't include, but I was like, you know what? This is quote unquote tribal die rolling. Yes, I have no chance of rolling a 10, but I'm rolling a dice, so you know it still has a bonus. Or I'm just going to roll through these die rolling cards. Diviner's Portent, drawing some cards. Spike Pit Trap, Ebony Fly, Goblin Morningstar, Arcane Investigator, Component Pouch. I like the power of persuasion. Ooh. Until the end of next turn. I'm building Nilor, and I'm looking for a lot of theft cards, so the power of persuasion. I may find a home in another deck. Berserker's Frenzy, Chaos Dragon, Maddening Hex, Scion of Staiga, Clay Golem, Neresi Puzzle Ward, Hoarding Ogre, Chaos Channeler. We're just all kinds of die rolling today. Djinni Windseer, Contact Other Plane. Now, that seems like that should. Yeah, I get it. You're drawing cards. I don't know though. Seems like that should. I don't know. Planeswalker. The Deck of Many Things. I like the Deck of Many Things. Swarming Goblins. 1, 2, 3. Farideh's Fireball. I think that is the only complaint that I have out of the D&D set, is that we did not get an actual Fireball reprint. Yes, they put it on the list for the D&D set, and we have this to represent the Fireball, but I mean, we got Magic Missile. I guess it would have been too much. Don't know, not a game designer. Abhorrent Mind Sorcerer. So those are our die rolling cards that physically make us roll a dice. And we need the entire 6 die set. So I'm somewhat of a dice collector. But these are the things that help us. Barbarian Class, if you would roll 1 or more dice, you get to roll an extra one. This is our Crack's Thumb, if you will. The Feywild Trickster. Whenever you roll a dice, you get a Fairy Dragon Flyer. Okay, that's not bad. Critical Hit. To give this creature double strike, but when you roll a nat 20, return critical hit from your graveyard to your hand because you rolled a critical hit. It's beautiful. We have Pixie Guide. If you roll 1 or more dice, instead, roll that many +1 and ignore the lowest roll. To date, I don't think there are any die roll cards where you want to keep a low one, so I think this is pretty good. And then the Brazen Dwarf. Roll one or more dice, deals 1 damage to each opponent. That's pretty nifty, not going to lie. Now, of those die rolling cards, that encompasses a lot of our removal, a lot of our card draw, a lot of our creatures, things like that. So we're going to get into the mana fixing. And I'll start with environmental sciences because I love this card in non-green decks. I really do. I know it gets mixed reviews. I've had several questions from y'all on it, but I like it in non-green decks because if you are color hosed one way or another, either toward the blue side or the red side in this particular deck, you can fix that. Soul Ring, Hedron Crawler. We have Explorer Scope. I mean, one to cast, one to equip, but still, what is that? 38% of the time it's going to get us a land. And then when we have the lockets, the 2-color ones, the Izzet Signet, Cluestone, and Locket. The Seer's Lantern giving us a little scry action, Pristine Talisman. And I put a Seething Song in there because, 3 for 5. You're hardly ever sad to draw it, so Frantic Search, a little bit of card draw. Now, Darksteel Axe is the only, and this probably should be something bigger, maybe a Black Blade Reforged or something like that, with a little bit bigger of a pump. But I was thinking, when we roll a dice, our commander gets Maness. So, might as well make her hit just a little harder. Yeah. Swiftfoot Boots to protect her. Mizzium Transreliquat to copy whatever artifact we want to copy. I love this card. Doesn't see a lot of play. It does have to be an Izzet deck, and in order to, to maximize the usage, it needs to be Izzet artifacts. We aren't really Izzet artifacts. We've got some mana rocks in there, but I like the fact that it can copy an artifact and keep that ability. That's pretty sweet. Now, the whole die rolling thing, I'll admit these next 2 cards are probably placeholders until I get some more of the higher end die rolling, the mythics and whatnot. But I have Squeeze Revenge and Stitch in Time. They are coin flippers. Just as I said, it feels similar, And I've got 3 creatures here. I have no other way to explain it other than I had 3 slots, and I was like, man, I need some defense. I need some flyers. And then I started, reading a lot of those die rolling cards are drawing me cards. And I was like, well, we'll use Niv Mizzet the Firemind. Niv is number 1. And then we'll use Niv Mizzet Draco Genius. And Niv Mizzet Parun. Apparently Niv is the die rolling. But then that moves us into removal. Here in no particular order again. Y'all know that I count the counter magic as removal because, that's kind of what it is. We have by force. That is a lot of mana that we're going to generate. So destroying X target artifacts is such a beautiful thing. Yes, most of the time it costs you a little more than Vandal Blast, but you can be selective. And in certain games, you kind of want to leave one person alone and, focus on another one. We got Mind Swipe, the ultimate slap in the face counterspell, right? Counter target spells unless the controller pays X. X is probably going to be large. And then, yeah. And then they take X. Gorilla Shaman, eat up some artifacts. Pongify, swatting down creatures. Lightning Bolt, because it's a great card. Now, granted, it would be totally better if there was a Fiery Emancipation here, but, Comet Storm. Let's go through some of this counter magic, shall we? We have Mana Leak, Disrupt, Negate, Counterspell. We do have Pyroclasm, to wipe off all those elves, goblins, rats, bats, whatever, Charm Sleep. As you know, with these D&D decks, the D&D commanders, I'm trying to use as many of the cards from Forgotten Realms as possible. Charm Sleep, it's 3 mana removal, right? On the right creature, it is. And then we have Introduction to Annihilation, which is just exile target non-land permanent. That's a thing that we want to do. Yeah, they get to draw cards, so what? You're exiling it. And typically, that's out of the wheelhouse of what we're trying to do in blue and red, normally. So let's look at our non-basic lands, shall we? We have, of course, we're going to start with the Command Tower. Training Center. Shivan Reef. Wandering Fumarole. Temple of Epiphany. Volatile Fjord. Prismari Campus. Swiftwater Cliffs. Is it Guildgate? Is it Boilerworks? Highland Lake. Obviously, I got it, in a 2-color deck. I'm going to want to use as many lands that produce both colors as possible to minimize the whole, getting slided to one color or another. And then Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds. And our last card, say with me, you know what it is. Rogue's Passage. And that is it for Farideh. We are... By the way, welcome to all of the new viewers that have happened just in the past day or so. I appreciate y'all showing up and watching and going through this journey with us. It means a bunch. So we're going to go ahead and put 762 over here on the wall. There it is. And that is it for today's video. We will, of course, be back tomorrow morning with another deck. And right now, I'm looking at 8 more decks over there ready to go. So, getting there. And they're all part of the Adventures of Forgotten Realm or the Forgotten Realm Commander. I consider them the same set. They're in the same playlist down there. If you are looking at not designating, because they're attaching the commander decks to the normal set, I'm just going to start lumping them into one, so I don't have a playlist with like 2 videos in it. Anyway, that's what I've got for today. I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, I think we're going to shuffle and cut.